I think I would just say that in life, to be an achiever, you must have the lever to deliver. Never let trials make you shiver or give you fever, because the devil is a deceiver. Or have faith that flows like a river and confidence in your quiver. And I assure you that God, who's a chief giver, will make you his number one receiver. It will come your way only if you're a believer. So keep believing. Yeah.
Hello everyone, how you all doing today? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Malizu Joy Adako. I hope you're having a beautiful day, splendid day, and also an amazing day. If you are new, please do not forget to click on the subscribe button below. To my returning subscribers, of course, I'm always grateful. I have a guest on today's show. His name is Chuma Noli, and I call him Jack of all trades, but I think I'll be kidding in that aspect, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. But before we proceed, I would love to ask my guest a question. Are you ready to flow with joy?
Yeah, I'm ready to flow with joy, actually. Flowing with joy gives me joy.
Hmm. And I forgot to mention earlier, this is the Flow with Joy segment. But I want to say something first before we go down the lane.
I'm here.
Can you kindly brief me or you kind of summarize the journey of you being a sports journalist? Can you give me a summary on that?
Okay, let's see how quickly I can say that. First off, like you said, a broadcaster, and then somebody who also does stuff with sports as well. It was a funny setting because I grew up loving, listening to radio and listening to people do their stuff on radio. But I never thought I was going to do radio myself too. And then somehow I got into the university, and while in my first year, second semester of my first year, I was speaking to a classmate of mine. Your first year, trying to get used to your classmates and classmates. And then this guy walks up to us and says hi to us. And I greet the guy, and the guy moves away. The person I'm talking to now says, that guy did try you. And I'm like, you try how? Who's he? And he tells me, he does stuff on radio. I'm like, wait, is this so person, Philip Obaji Jr.? He's like, yeah, that's him. I'm like, wow, this is the guy I used to listen to on radio. I'm like, is he in our class? And he says, yes. Wow. So I now leave this guy I'm talking to and then go after the guy who left us, who I used to listen to on radio but didn't know was our classmate. And I tell him, hey, I've been listening to you on radio, man. I didn't know you were in my class. It's nice to meet you and all of that. And then one thing leads to another, we become very good friends. And one very day, he used to drive to school as at then. It was a very young guy, of course, but he was about 18, and he used to drive to school at that time. And this very period, his car had a bit of an issue, and he had to hop on a bike to the studio. And he tells me, escort me to the gate now, so I can take a bike to the studio. And I escort him halfway, and I'm like, I want to go back to the class. And he says, no, take me to the gate. And I say, but if I take you to the gate, who will escort me myself back to the class? And he says, don't worry, I'll take you to the studio with me. Like, are you kidding me? And I go with him to the gate, and we take the same bike and go to the studio. And I just thought I wanted to just watch what he was doing. Little did I know he had plans to put me on air towards the end of the broadcast, because he had tried me out a few times as a friend. Imagine if you were with me in the studio and I asked you this question, what would you say? And that was the beginning. I had a good debut. The older ones were there, said, was it your first time on radio? And I said, yeah, it was my first time on radio. I'm like, you didn't do badly. It's okay, thank you. My friend Philip now says, start coming. That was the beginning of the story.
Amazing.
Mm.
So I've had people call you Rhyme Master. What do you have to say about that?
But it's because I do so much of wordplay and rhyming. Again, it's a talent, something I'm privileged to get from God, as the case is. And I think I found out I could play around with words. My earliest memory is the early 2000s. I'm thinking of stuff and I'm like, hey, God will be your guide through the evil tide. In him you will hide through our life's ride. Even you abide by his side, he'll make you satisfied.
That's a
I'm like,
freestyle
okay.
right there.
Now this one has been around, Chad. This very one, I've had it on my mind for a while, but that was it. And I found out that okay, I can play with words, that sound similar and all that, and then start building on it. And in all of my years in the media, there's been the rhyming side of things, so that's why I'm called the rhymes master.
Can you just give me a little freestyle?
Okay, but I'm just staring at you and I'm like, you're delectable, and perhaps you need a bit of a collectible. You sound quintessential, so talking to you is very essential.
Oh,
If that makes sense.
It's making sense.
Okay.
Can't you do? I just said, oh,
Oh, nothing rhymes with Asha, so I'll not do that one.
okay, okay. So, guys, on today's show, we are going to be talking about overcoming challenges of master ceremonies. And Chuma here is MC. Regarding earlier, you did not mention what you do, or you did not state what you do. Please, can you kindly tell the audience and the viewers what you do?
All right, I'm a broadcaster and on-air personality on radio and television for over a decade. My journey has taken me from Calabar to Port Harcourt and now in Lagos. I'm also a master of ceremonies, an author of the Book of 100 Rhymes, and a guy who does other things too. So that's
Other
me.
things like what?
Hmm? You want to know every other thing, right?
Yeah,
Of
share it.
course. Well, naturally, business, personal stuff, and all of those kind of things.
So you're a businessman.
Well, maybe not the biggest businessman in the world, but yeah,
What state
we're
are
all
you
right.
from?
From Anambra,
We're in Anambra.
Newi.
Oh
That already gives
Lord,
you the business thinking,
the
right?
business
Well,
people.
I grew up in Calabar. I was born and bred in Calabar, though. So
But you don't even look like an Igbo person.
that's what they tell me every time. My mom is Efik, so I think the balance is there. The Efik side and the Igbo side of me, the two sides.
Wonderful. So, um, how were you able to overcome your stage fright in your early days in your career? When you started the journey, how were you able to overcome your stage fright?
I think practicing is one of the things that helped me even before I thought I was going to do whatever I was going to do, whether it was radio, television, or anchoring events. So not having to be in your quiet time in the room and then you're looking at the wall, you're staring at the wall, or you're staring at the mirror, and then you take a torchlight and you're acting like it's a microphone, and then you're asking yourself a question and trying to respond. It's something I did even before I ever thought I was going to do radio. And it helped me ease into the groove when eventually that opportunity came because I just had a passion for the media. Like I said, I used to listen to so much of the radio. I used to watch people do their stuff, but I didn't think I studied marine biology in school. I didn't think I was ever going to do media stuff, but somehow I'm sure that, God always finds a way to direct our steps even before we know it. And I found myself in the media space, as I explained at the beginning. So those practicing behind the scenes, or those practices in quotes behind the scenes, made it easier for me to get to the fore when the opportunity came to prove my mettle. Beyond that, to naturally, for any human being, even the creme de la creme, the very best of masters of ceremonies or people who have done stuff, whether it's even music stars, naturally as a human being, when you step on that stage and you have hundreds of people or thousands of people watching you, there'll always be those few seconds of doubt, or fear or trepidation, just a bit of it. Even for one personalities, I've heard and seen some of the very best say that just before they turn on the microphone, despite doing it for so many years, the little trepidation just comes through and then they vanish it and then do what they are doing. So it's natural that those things will come up for anybody, but it's about being confident in what you're going to say. If you know what you're going to say, if you've practiced consistently over time, when eventually you're given the opportunity to step on that stage, it'll flow seamlessly. It's like a football star. Ronaldo goes onto the field and he's scoring free kicks and he's scoring goals. But you've forgotten that he's had so many practice experiences. He's had so many training experiences behind closed doors to prepare him for that big occasion itself. So that has helped me practicing on a consistent basis, even when I'm not required to practice. So eventually, when I'm in that position, it comes seamlessly because I've been doing it quietly in the past.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Because one cannot just get into the studio and on the mic and start handling it.
Yeah.
It's not
People are gifted,
advisable.
and even for those who are gifted and who, it comes seamlessly. If I turn on that mic, even if I didn't prep for a show, I can flow and flow. But the truth is, for even you who's doing the stuff, you realize that the best of you comes to the fore when you've prepped. So you can do it without prepping, right? But when you've prepped, it makes it even sweeter and more seamless.
Okay. So, what techniques did you use to keep your audience engaged and also energized? What was that technique that you used to always keep them amazed and they're always surprised at what you do?
So I think the first thing is I'm lucky and I'm blessed. I thank God for the rhyming thing because that has made things easier. When I collect the microphone and I want to
You can rhyme
host
to
an
anything,
event,
any
just
word at
that
all.
festival just causes the wow effect. Like How this guy take do this thing? So it makes it a bit easier for you to get endeared to the audience, so the audience appreciate what you're doing. But away from the rhyming thing, because again, there's more to me than just rhyming. I know people have asked me this question in the past. Is rhyming the backbone of your media career or MC career? I'm like, no. Rhyming is an addition to what I can already do. So if you put me on stage and say, guy, for the entire 2 hours, don't rhyme, do it without rhyming, I will do that still. So I think that, the techniques for me, again, is going to be back to the fact that practicing has helped, right? Um, the other thing that helps also from my POV is trying to interact with that audience. So if it's not a corporate event I'm emceeing, or if it's not a government event where you have to be so serious, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, I crave your indulgence that we all rise. Welcome, His Excellency the Governor, and all of this kind of thing. It was a bit of an, wedding reception ceremony, a birthday
Mm-hmm.
party, a Thanksgiving experience where you can be a bit more relaxed. I try to come down from that stage. Sometimes it feels like you're there, the audience is here. There's no connection. So at the start of the event, at least, after I'm done with the intro thing, to break the ice, I'm coming down stage, down from the stage, and then getting into the audience. Could just be a playful, hey guys, please just look around you by your left, by your right, say hi to the person by your left, by your right, introduce yourself, and then I walk up to you, Joy, and let's imagine that you're saying, who is this guy that's telling me to say hi to my neighbor who's seated by my side? By
Mm-hmm.
the time I walk up to you, Joy, I say, Joy, my name is Chuma. What's your name? And you say you're Joy. And I'm like, have you said hi to the person by your side? What's the person by your side's name? Moment you realize you haven't said hi to the person. The other people in the hall are like, in case Chuma won't come my seat, make I rush say hi to the person by my side. So
So that you won't
it helps
point them out.
ensure that everybody now starts engaging with you from the start, and then you can build on that foundation, because
Hmm.
the most important part of being a successful event MC is your connection with the audience. If you just go there and you flow on stage and nobody's responding to you, it's never a complete experience.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm amazing, as somebody would say.
Okay, so what is the biggest lessons you've learned through the journey when you started? What is that biggest lesson that you've always learned, and is one of the things that you be like, oh God, how come?
Mm. Talent is great. Talent is fantastic, but preparation and hard work. Somebody who is not as talented as you are, who is dedicated to their craft and who keeps trying to improve themselves every day, and eventually get better than you, who had the natural talent in the first place. So talent is impressive. Talent is an amazing thing given to you by God, but there has to be consistent practice. And it's something that touches me, and I feel touches every facet of life. So I many times love to use the experiences and stories of people in entertainment. I remember, watching a TEDx experience. It was Zenasha, who works for the CNN, and she was speaking about her elder brother Chiwetel for the Hollywood actor, and how when he was younger, in his room, he would have pictures of Hollywood stars in his room, and then in his quiet time, he would try to act like each of these Hollywood stars. Little did he know he was preparing himself to become a Hollywood star himself as well. Um, you know, Basketballers, there's a Steph Curry guy who is like the best pointer shooter in basketball. And Steph Curry, I was watching recently a video where he spoke about how in secondary school, even when people were playing basketball and they were seeing stars, nobody looked at him as a potential big name in basketball. Like, look at this one. He was smallish in school and all that, but he kept practicing quietly. Today, he's one of the top two biggest names in basketball alongside LeBron James. You can always almost bet on him that he would throw a shot from 3 points out and he will score. He's practiced this time and time and time and time and time and time again. So when he now does it on court during a live game, it looks so easy, but it's not, because he's practiced it time and time again. So I have learned that in my life, that talent is amazing, but preparation, practice, and consistency beats even talent.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm, mm, true that.
Do you know I'm actually
Mhm.
quiet? It's what you
No.
said. There was a time I tuned into the radio,
Mm,
the time I tuned on the radio, and I heard your voice. And what you just said now is
mm,
something relating, or it's kind of relatable to what you said on air.
Okay.
So basically, right, it's regarding the aspect of the consistency I see in you. I think it's part of what brought you to where you are today, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
true.
Because you made that
Yeah.
comment, it was during, I think, football commentary
Okay.
something or whatever on Nigeria Info.
Mhm.
So you're like, oh, you should go for the ball, go for the goal. The way you were, the way you do it, I don't know how
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
it so that I
yeah,
shouldn't.
yeah, yeah.
So I was just relating to that, and I kind of remembered how you were,
Saying that on radio
yeah, you,
in
Sam,
a
and the
different light.
rest. Yes, the energy you put to that.
Yeah, that's it. Because all of these things count. There's stories over time that make us who we are. There are disappointments, there are successes. There are quite a handful of things that define the eventual story of our lives. Many times we only celebrate people for the big wins, but we don't think about what they went through in putting themselves in shape for those big wins. The world many times just sees those successes, but beyond the success, there's so much of hard work during the process that grants you access to the success.
So, what are the advice you have for the upcoming people? Is there any advice you have for those that I they want to be like they want to become an MC or master of ceremonies? Do you have any advice you have for them, the young ones?
Yeah, sure. The first thing for me again is going to be what I said, which is start practicing in your closet. Now it's even easier because now you have phones. So you can put your phone in front of you and record yourself and then play back and ask yourself, okay, today I made a mistake while trying to do this. Tomorrow I'm slightly better. The next day after I'm slightly better. So practice. Watch people. So till date, I may not follow BB Niger as passionately as some people do, where I have to sit down and watch the housemates. But I know the two parts of BB Niger that I most times don't miss. I try not to miss them.
Which is
It's the Saturday night party because I love Nigerian music. So I want to just stay back and have a DJ playing and I'm dancing with the housemates, also dancing on TV. And then the eviction show itself.
on Sunday.
And I'm not watching the eviction show because I want to. Most times I'm not watching because I want to see who they're evicting. I'm watching because I want to see what Ebuka, the host of the event, is doing as an MC. And I'm asking myself, if you were to be in that position,
How would you
how would you
handle it?
also do it too? When I'm watching the AMVCAs, I'm watching to see how IK, who I think is one of the very best, if not the best, to do that in this part of the world, how he's doing his stuff. And I'm asking myself, in front of all these creme de la creme of high profile personalities, see what he's doing. He's making it look so easy. Imagine Chuma, if you were to be standing there, how would you do it as well too? So watch people. Start by watching first of all. Watch to have an idea of how it works. And the good thing is there's also YouTube now, so you don't have to wait until there's a BB Niger experience or AMVCA, or you can just go online and you already have content from these same names I mentioned and so many other great, masters of ceremonies. You don't have to be a comedian. That's a mistake some people make sometimes. You don't have to be a
Okay.
comedian to be a good master of ceremonies. Because you're a comedian, fantastic. There are amazing comedians who are amazing masters of ceremonies. But the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to be a comedian to be a good MC. Ebuka is not a comedian. Ike is not a stand-up comedian. Or you should have a good sense of humor. You must not be able to give storyline jokes, or you should be able to be spontaneous with your creative minds. It could be wordplay. It could just be your ability to look at what's happening in a certain place and then try and get a bit of humor out of it. So watch people do their stuff, practice by yourself behind closed doors, record yourself and prepare yourself for that moment you're waiting for. Start with small circles. So you're in your church youth assembly or something in your church, or you're in your department in school. When there are opportunities for events to come up in those small circles, put yourself out there. Tell them I can do. But by this time, you should have tried already several times by yourself. Gather together your friends at home or your younger brother or your younger sister. Say, sit down here as my audience. Imagine if you're my audience, guys. I'm emceeing now. What do you think I did right? When you've practiced consistently to a certain level and you think, okay, I can now carry this thing and try it out outside. Now plug your way through. There's something coming up in your church. Appeal to people. I can do it too. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Even if you just have a cameo appearance, let it be that you had a chance to hold the microphone to in front of an audience, and then it grows from there. And then be big on documenting what you're doing because again, our job, the emceeing job, is not this guy that you say this guy is worth 50 million naira and he's worth 50 million naira because he has this, he has this, he has this. With our job, is not tangible. It's the brand you build around it that makes you worth something. So In the emceeing job, there are people who earn the biggest names. There are people who earn 10 million naira to MC an event. There's some other people who still collect 20,000 naira to MC an event. So it's how you've built yourself over time. It's how you've packaged yourself. It's the more events you've anchored. It's the how big the events are, and the way you place yourself. That over time eventually translates into how well paid you are otherwise. So document. So you're doing that church event, that small church event. Let somebody snap you with a microphone. I was emceeing here. If you can do a short video, put it out. I was emceeing here because before people entrust you to host their events, they want to see that you've done it somewhere else successfully. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's where social media comes in.
Exactly the point.
Having a platform
Yeah.
to put it out and sell yourself. Because nowadays I feel CV is not what people request for
It's practical
anymore.
stuff. Yeah. It's not just about text anymore.
Yeah, they'll be like, okay, I think send a
Let me
link
see what
of your
you can do.
Instagram.
They'll use that to judge exactly. So
Yeah.
it's easier. Just send your Instagram link or Twitter, and then we'll look at what you do. Okay. All right. You MC this church event. Nice. Okay. The 50th birthday of this person, you MC'd. When you're not asking them for a certain amount of money, or they're thinking of whether they can entrust your event, because truly, sometimes people are like, we have this big event. Can you trust this guy or this lady to host it without letting us down? Because when you are the master of ceremonies for an event,
You carry
you're
everyone
the event
along.
maker, basically. You're the one who's gonna, decide the rhythm of that event. You're the one who either make the event good or bad. That's the truth. Yeah. So it's a very important and sensitive job to have to be master of ceremonies or host of an event.
Wow, beautiful. So, can you share a quick instance where you're handling an event and let's say, for instance, you actually forgot something and you were quick to like, how do I, a snap of a finger, how can I remember this so that I will not fall my hand? Because you know you're handling a huge crowd of people are watching you and literally you don't know how to do it that moment. How are you able to um, be in charge?
Overcome.
Yeah, overcome because I'm pretty sure you're trying to, let's say, okay, Joy Malizu, I'm trying to say you're trying to introduce the guests and you forgot one of the guests' name and you're trying to look at the book to like, okay, Chief Anthony, and the other one, maybe you can't pronounce it correctly. How are you able to do that?
It happens to even the very best. But the first step to ensure that you don't even find yourself in that situation in the first place is enough research. So Joy is calling me to anchor a reception ceremony for her husband who's just been appointed a commissioner or something. I should be able to first of all research a bit on who this husband of hers is, what he has done over the years, what the ministry he's being appointed into is all about. So those things come in as feelers for you. So if, for example, I'm supposed to do something and they have not given me the name yet on the program, they have not given it to me yet, and I'm already on that stage, that's where these feelers come in. I can now deviate. I was about to introduce Mr. Benjamin, and they haven't confirmed to me if it's Engineer Benjamin or not. And I'm trying to buy time. I don't already this stage. I don't think come what you get. And yeah. So again, as we await the next, I was thinking to myself, the Ministry of Health, amazing ministry. Imagine Joy's husband being the commissioner for that ministry. I know a few years back, it was a lady who was a commissioner and she was able to build 4 hospitals in this state.
This way you try
buying
to
time.
you try
You're
to say
buying time.
something relatable for people
Yeah,
to.
and then you're buying time.
Okay.
Using that time to buy time in an intelligent way.
Yes, smart
And
way that
then,
people will not really
they have
notice.
no idea that there was a pause or a lacuna. At this time, whatever information you wanted to get out is back to you, and then you're done with your story of how the former commissioner, built 4 hospitals, and you're back to So now we can welcome, permanent secretary in the ministry, engineer Francis, so, whatever it is. So that preparation helps. I know that before an event, I'm always keen, at least 24 hours before, at least the night before the event the next day. I beg, can you give me a list of your guests in advance? Yeah, you have more names to add, no problem. But give me a list of the core guests. Let's confirm their titles, their names, their portfolio, because people also take it personal. If you're Chief Dr. Mrs. Joy and I come and just say, give it up for Mrs. Joy. The way Nigeria is, Mrs. Joy will
They
say,
love
did
title
I
a
go
lot.
through PhD for you to come and call me Mrs. Joy instead of adding my doctor? Did I get this chieftaincy title from my village for you to just come and call me Mrs. Joy?
Nigerians love title
Or
a
even with the
lot.
guys on Mr. Francis when it's supposed to be High Chief Francis. Or see Chief Francis when it's supposed to be High Chief Francis. And it's like, come, I'm High Chief, I'm not just the chief. So I look forward to it. The earlier you got as much information as possible around the event, the better. It helps you ensure you don't even find yourself in that situation where you're going to be messed up on stage.
So you've actually given a well detailed reason for people to be able to overcome that. And as you stated earlier,
Yeah.
regarding the young generations, you said you made mention of consistent practicing because you don't know when an opportunity would come in.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to give a freestyle because we're coming to the end of the show. So I want you to just give a freestyle to close the show.
Okay. All
Should
right.
I choose a word?
Since this conversation is around, if you want to, but I'm just thinking, since conversation is around trying to achieve, trying to be
Okay.
successful in
Okay.
life,
Yeah. Since it's around that, yeah.
trying to be bold enough and daring, trying to go for what you
Confidence.
want to win. I think I would just say that in life, to be an achiever, you must have the lever to deliver. Never let trials make you shiver or give you fever, because the devil is a deceiver. Or have faith that flows like a river and confidence in your quiver. And I assure you that God, who's a chief giver, will make you his number one receiver. It will come your way only if you're a believer. So keep believing. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Amazing.
Everything Shiva, 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 Shiva. I wish I can actually do that.
I think you
I,
can, perhaps.
I think that's a natural talent
Yeah,
because
it is
it's
actually.
not everyone that can do what you're doing.
It is, but like again, like I said,
And I think it's actually rare.
Oh,
That was beautiful.
thank you.
I'm just wow and amazed. It's
Thank you.
just wonderful.
Thank you. Your kind words I enjoy. Thank you so much, Joy.
Yeah. Okay, what about my name?
But at this stage, you have to pay me.
Oh Lord.
To be under
Yeah,
your
I'll pay you behind the scene. I
under,
can't pay you on camera for crying out
to
loud.
be under your employ before you
Okay.
try to use me like a toy. Because I know that ordinarily it's easy to want to put a smile on your face because your name is Joy.
Okay.
It's going to be tough for someone to look at you and get you angry because you're well fed, you're not hungry. You know,
Beautiful.
say no more for now.
Ah, a round of applause for Chuma. That was beautiful. So, guys, we've come to the end of today's show. But before we go, would want to say a big thank you to Chuma here for honoring our invitation.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Oh, thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
So, before we go, would you want to say anything to our viewers and to our audience? Anything at all to the young ones? Do you have any advice for them? Like a summary of everything you've said, just brief it and
Yeah,
we're
just
good to
subscribe
go.
to Joy's YouTube channel. She's like the head of the panel. So just subscribe to her channel, okay? And she'll lead you through the right tunnel. You know, she'll give you feel through a funnel. Just joking, by the way, but subscribe to the channel, okay?
Thank you so much for coming, Chuma.
Yeah.
We love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, guys, we've come to the end of today's show. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. If you know you want any content, please, I'm always saying it, just do well to say it or just comment on the comment section below, and we are there to just pick it up. An idea, anything at all, even if it's a thought, we're good to go. Okay, see you in my next video. Bye. Peace out.